Hey guys, so it's Mitch. Today I'm going to be making a quick storytime video on this time that I almost got kidnapped. I know that's like a super extreme, intense kind of like remark to make, but it's the truth. So I'm immature as fuck and I can't take things seriously, so it's probably going to be like a pretty humorous story, but like it's not humorous. Anyway, so it all started about 5 years ago. My family had moved from the middle of Toronto to the middle of buttfuck nowhere in the middle of the country where like there was nothing. There was like horses in everybody's backyards, hay everywhere, fucking cows mooing in the middle of the night. Like, you know, you woke up to like the rooster, right? So we lived in buttfuck nowhere for 2 years, and you know it was going smooth. Like I really liked it. I could like ride horses and stuff. I could like play with the cows and the roosters, and yeah, like it was a fun time. The second summer that we had lived there was a bad one. So I lived in this humongous house, like it was called, okay, say I lived in like fucking like Oakland, like let's call my city that. So it was called like the Mansion of Oakland. Like that's like what my like friends and like students at my school knew it as. Because it was such a small town and like such a huge house. So everyone's like, oh, like the Mansion of Oakland, you live there, it's so cool. It was basically like you'd have like the road here, and like there'd be like this big ass like driveway, and the house would be sitting up there. It was up on like the hill, hidden by forest, like you couldn't really get to it unless you were to drive, right? So it was like the middle of summer, we were chilling in my sister's room. My mom was gone to work, dad was at work, brother was off fucking riding a horse somewhere, playing with cows or something, I don't know. Anyway, it was just me and my sister. So we were up in her room, I was like helping her clean, like painting her nails, shit like that, girly stuff, cause you know, we girly. And we were watching like Forrest Gump or something, some country movie that country kids watch. Then all of a sudden, we hear the doorbell ring. And we're like, what the fuck is that, you know? I was like 8, my sister was like a preteen, so she was like impubescent. And we were like freaking out. We were like, oh my god, like who's at the door? Nobody would ever come to the door. Because it was like literally like you'd have to like make a trek to like get to our house.
Okay guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. We literally lived in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, in order to get to the house, you had to walk for like a solid like 30 minutes from the bottom of the driveway, or you had to drive for like 5 minutes. People did not come. Like the mailbox was at the end of the driveway, so like the mailman would leave it there. People, unplanned visitors had like absolutely no reason to ever be at our house, especially in like the middle of the work week at like 2 p.m.
It was like up the hill, right? Hidden by that forest, protected by wolves, not really, but you know, it was hard to get to. So we're like, oh, what's that? So we didn't answer it. We just like called my mom on like my sister's like flip cell phone, and we were like, oh, like, are you at the door? And she's like, no. She's like, what the fuck? So my mom worked like 45 minutes out of town. Like it was a pretty like, it was far. It would be like a big ordeal for her to like come like pick us up or anything. So we were like, oh, like, don't worry about it. We'll just leave it. So we're sitting there and like we're still kind of like sketched out. And then all of a sudden we hear it go again. And we have a big dog named Tucker. And he starts fucking barking and like he's like freaking out, like mad. Like he was pissed, right? So we're like, what the hell is that? So we go to my sister's room. And her room's here, front door's like down here, and it's got a balcony here for like the whole upstairs, and like a banister and stuff, so you could like see down. It was like a grand foyer. So we like peer out of the corner, and like look behind like this little shelf, and you can like just see the door, right? Well, you can see a mirror, which reflects the door. So like we're seeing that, we're like, okay, like let's take a peek, and like we're looking. Some fucking old, creepy ass man with this huge beard, fucking bandana, balding, like no teeth, like standing at our door, like peering in, like oh, like what's in there? You're like being creepy as shit, right? So we're like, what the fuck? Like, so we immediately, like, we call my mom, like we're all crying, we're like freaking the fuck out. We're like, mom, like come home, like there's an old man at our door, and we're like freaking out. So my mom's like, okay, ignore it, he'll go away. So that's what we do. We ignore it. It stops eventually, and we're like, okay, like it's chill, you know, whatever, we good. Then my sister's whole back wall starts shaking. So like if you were like shake the back door, like the whole wall would shake, including like the upstairs wall, which was my sister's wall. So we're freaking out. We're like, why is this wall shaking? Like what the fuck? Like call fucking like somebody to save us. Like we're scared, right? So we call my mom again and we're like, mom, they're at the back door. They're shaking, like they're trying to break in. And my mom's like, oh fuck no. Like she gets in her car and she starts driving. And she's like, okay, I'll be there in 45 minutes. Like I'm gonna speed, I'm gonna do illegal shit to get there. I'll fucking take a private jet. She sped, right? But she's like, okay, I'm gonna leave you on the phone with a coworker, and she's like, oh, like just calm down, like children, like it's gonna be fine. And we're like, okay, but like you don't get it. There's an old creepy man trying to kill us. So we're like freaking out, and she's like talking us through it. And then it stops. All the shaking stops. It's chill. Then he fucking goes to the front door again and starts ringing it. He's trying to get in our house by this point. Like, we're 100% sure. We're freaking out. But there's not really a place to hide in my sister's room. Like, she has a bunk bed and, like, a dresser. Like, it's, like, nothing really. So, we're like, okay, we can't stay in here. It doesn't lock. Like, we can't be in here. So, my sister's room's here. And this is the whole upstairs balcony area. My mom's room's here. So, we're like, okay, we're going to book it to my mom's room. But it's like a balcony, right? So there's no like solid wall. Like it's like a grand foyer. So if he's like standing at the front door, he'll see two little Oompa Loompa kids running across. So we had to wait until like, you know, we'd figure out when it was okay to go. So we're just sitting there like crying, like on the phone with a coworker, and it stops, and then we feel like the back door shaking. So we run. Like we booted across to my sister's room, my mom's room. I'm like, okay, so we're chill. We're gonna hide. But then we had this idea to like look out the front window. My mom's room had like this huge, massive, like the whole wall at the front of the house was like windows. So like her whole front wall was windows. So we're like peering out at it, and we're like, okay, like, is there a car? We want to get like the license plate number so we could like tell like the coworker because we're still on the phone. So we're like looking out for like the car, and there's no fucking car. So we're like, okay, this guy like walked up to our house. Like that's like not okay. Like he fucking walked. He like really wanted to get here. We're freaking out. And we had no cars in our driveway too, so he must think that nobody's home, right? So by this point, we're freaking out, and we just hide. We decide to hide, and we're just chilling until my mom gets there. So finally, my mom calls, and she's like, hey, like, I'm at the bottom of the driveway. Like, do you see him? Is he still there? And we're like, he's at the back door shaking the door. And at this point, he was like shaking the whole back of the house. And we're like, okay, like, we were scared for my mom because we didn't want her to come up into like a dangerous situation, right? So we're like, okay, mom, just like, I don't know what to do. Just drive up. So she starts driving up this driveway really slowly. And all of a sudden, the shaking stops. We were like, okay, he saw the car, and he just decided to run. And we're like, okay, my mom comes in. She like picks us up. We're bawling our eyes out. And by this point, it's like 2 o'clock. She still has to work for 3 more hours. So she like picked us up and then took us into work with her. We go to her work. Everything's fine. Like 2 days go by. It's chill. The guy doesn't come back. But then this is where it gets really fucked up. We are fucking going to my mom's work because this is like a week after, and we're like still petrified. We're like, I'm not staying in our house alone. Like, no fucking way. It's still summer. So my mom just like let us do crafts and fucking like draw little like horses and like fucking cows and shit in the back of her office. So that's what we did, and we were on our way. So we like pull over to go get gas, and like, you know, she goes inside. Everything's chill. Fills up the tank. Goes inside to pay, and you know it's chill. We're like, oh, whatever. I'm like paying my Game Boy Advance or some shit probably. And then she walks out, and she's like pale as a ghost, right? And she's like, she's scared. And my mom, and then she like calls my sister over, and she's like, Nikki, get out of the car, like, come here. So my sister goes out. They have like this weird talk. Go inside of the gas station. Come back out. I was still playing my Game Boy Advance. I didn't think anything of it. Then my sister came in, and she was like crying, and I was like, what the fuck? Like she cried for the 45-minute drive all the way to like my mom's work. So by this point, I'm like, okay, like something happened. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not stupid. I'm a kid, but like, I'm not stupid, right? I asked my mom, like, she just doesn't tell me. So about a year ago, I remembered like this whole story, and I was like, wait, like the gas station, like what happened inside the gas station? So I went up to my mom, and I was like, Mama, like what happened in the gas station? And she was like, okay, you're old enough, I'll tell you. So what happened was she went inside the gas station, looked like the newspaper stand, and on the front cover was the fucking guy. And he was like, he had a warrant out for his arrest for like child molestation, kidnapping a kid, like a bunch of crazy shit. Like he had done some bad shit, and he was really wanted. Not even in our town, but like in Canada, you know? And we basically like helped catch him. Because what happened was when my mom drove up, he had seen the car and ran down the hill. We only had one neighbor, so there's only like one house for him to go to. So he runs down the hill and goes to this house. Our one neighbor was like an old lady. She was like 80 years old. Like she was super cute, but super old. The front door was unlocked when he went in, and unlocked it. He just went in, pulled a knife on the old lady. She was a fucking ninja, called the cops, locked herself in the bathroom. Cops came and got him. He was like stealing shit, but he got caught. So he's probably in jail for the rest of his life. I don't fucking know. But it was probably the scariest thing that had ever happened to me in my life. Like if he got into our house, like who knows what would happen, you know? Yeah, so that's my story. Thanks for watching. comment below, like let me know what kind of videos to make. I have a couple more stories that I've been like thinking of that like I'm definitely gonna hit you guys up with because I think they're pretty fun to tell. So yeah, leave a comment below, let me know what you want to know about. This is my first video, so subscribe, I guess. Yeah, so thanks for watching. See ya.